Hey, what's going on guys? Magma here, and being an animation channel, I get a lot of questions asking, hey Magma, how do you animate? Or can you show us how to animate? Or quite specifically, can you show us how to draw like you? And usually the response I give to these questions is, I use black magic. And I gotta come clean with you guys. I don't actually use black magic. I know, I'm sorry, please forgive me. I'll never lie again to you. So in today's video, I'm just going to show you how I animate. I'm going to take you through all the steps that I know and that I've been taught and that I've seen on YouTube and teach you guys how I like to animate in particular. Now I will say, I am no professional by any standards. I'm not like some great animator, you know. I've only been doing this for about 3 years, and while there is improvement, it's still nothing compared to what other people, especially here on YouTube, can do, you know. So this is just what I like to use. It may not be the most professional way, but it works for me and it gets the job done. So I thought, you know what? I'll show you guys what I do. So let's get started with step 1. So for step 1, you're just going to want to grab whatever animation software or drawing tablet you like to use, and you're basically going to want to start off with stick figures. And I know that kind of sounds stupid because, you know, we're here to draw perfection, great cartoons like the masters, like Walt Disney and Max Fleischer. But you gotta start small. And I like to use stick figures to kind of like basically give the idea of where I want my character to be, the position he is, the pose I want him to be in. And that usually helps to make sure that you're not making him look stiff. A lot of the times when you just draw your character off the bat with no outline or anything, your character just looks stiff. There doesn't look like any life into him. He looks like a normal stiff statue. And you're going to want to use the stick figures to kind of give like a nice pose. Maybe you want him hunched back, you know? Maybe he's pointing in the air, so you draw like a dramatic pose of him pointing. Or even, you know, he's running, so you want your character to be running, so you get him into a running position. The stick figure is mainly to help you figure out the pose and get your character loose, to make them not feel so tight. And this leads on to step 2. So for step 2, you're going to want to draw an outline of your character. I preferably like to use a specific type of pen, like a watercolor pencil or something, and change the opacity down to make it lighter, and then draw an outline over the stick figure on a new layer. This way, it helps you to be able to get the anatomy correctly of your character, so you don't have like one arm bigger than the other or one eye bigger than the other. We don't want to make him look all loopy and doopy. Like, you know, we're not trying to make Saint Ignatius of Loyola over here after he got shot with a cannonball in the leg and one of his legs grew back smaller than the others. No, that was out of his control. But when you draw, everything is within your control. So you're going to want to use the outline as a way to get the anatomy correctly of your character and even make the expressions you want. You know, this is just the way that you use to make sure that your character looks perfect, to make sure all the arms are the same size, no limb is bigger than the other, to make them perfect. Alright, and now we move on to step 3. And this step, we're going to take a step backwards. I'm sorry. And in step 3, you're going to want to do in-betweens. Now let me take you back for a little history lesson real quick about animation. So, there are 2 words that are used to describe the drawings in animations. One is the keyframe, which are the first and last image of the character you draw when there is action in the animation. And these scenes are the ones that are supposed to be on screen the most, that the audience will be seeing the most because they're the main pose for the animation. And then the things that are in between the animations are called in-betweens. These are the images that help show the movement happening within the animation. They're the reason that, you know, the arm actually looks like it's real and it's moving from one side to the other, or that when the character's running, it makes the legs actually look like they're running. And they're all different drawings that are taking place within there called in-betweens. The more in-betweens you make in the animation, the more smooth it comes out, but it could also mean the slower the animation is. So if you want a scene where your character is running quickly, you don't add as many in-betweens. But if you're doing where a character is walking slow, you know, because they're walking through a dark room at suspense, you're going to want to add as many in-betweens as possible to give off the slowness. And they have to match with each other in order to make sure that the movement is all in sync rather than all random. Alright, so with step 4, now you outline over your sketches. That's right, you get your best pen that you like to draw with. I recommend a nice hard or soft ink pen to outline your characters. That way you can show the lines better. And this is mainly just there to perfect the character, you know, so you can allow you to color them as well. And for coloring the characters, I just like to use the paint tool can and color the characters because I'm a lazy piece of shit. Just kidding. Just because it's a little quicker than actually making another frame and coloring over that, you can do that too. Some people like to add another frame and add it under the outlined image and then color in with that so that they can have control of what they're coloring. And some people even like to use a watercolor pencil. That way it gives off a more of an artsy feel to it rather than just a cartoon. So you can color however you want. It's mainly the outline you have to worry about. Alright, and that is all that we have for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Is what I would say if I wanted you to fail. But luckily I don't want you to fail because I actually care about you guys, and I want you guys to make the best animations possible. So for step 5, you're going to want to either export or download your images onto your computer and take them into some animation software so you can compile them all together and make your animation. Now there's a number of things you can use. There's a lot of good animation software out there that you can use to compile your images together and then make your animated project. One of them I'm going to talk about that I use quite a bit, not for every animation, but I use for big action scenes, is Adobe Animate. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have to sell your soul to the Creative Cloud and purchase Adobe Animate for a whopping $20 a month. And there's an annual fee, but I don't know what that is. Now with Adobe Animate, like I said, you don't have to use Adobe Animate. That's just what I use, and there's a lot of other free applications out there for you to use. So you can just find whatever best for you, but I'm just going to use Adobe Animate as an example of what to do when compiling your animations. So you're going to want to import all your images into your animation software and have them in the library section. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to add keyframes to your timeline or to your layers here, and then you're going to want to add your images to the keyframes. Now don't just think that after putting all your images onto one keyframe you're good, because when you use one keyframe your animation might go by super quickly, and while it gets the animation job done, it doesn't look good because of how fast it's going. With stuff like Adobe Animate, you're going to want to make sure that you put your image on multiple keyframes in order to make the animation go by slower and look more realistic. So I recommend you do it on like 2s and 3s if you want to. If you're doing some movement like I'm doing, where I have Freddy Fazbear up here, you know, he's turning around and pointing his finger. In order to make that image slower and more realistic, you're going to want to do it on 2s. 2 keyframes with the same image on it in order to make sure that it's slower. And this is different for everything. You know, it may not always be like this. If you want an animation to go into slow mode, you might add 3 or more. It all just depends on what you feel is right and what looks the best. Sometimes you might only need 1 keyframe. Most of the time you'll probably need 2. Sometimes you might need 3 or more. It all depends on what you want the animation to look like and what makes it look the best. Then you export it as a movie or a video, whichever you prefer, I don't judge. Then you're done. Now you have your full-fleshed animation, and here I have Freddy Fazbear looking like he's about to say something, then he sees something and he gets disappointed. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want other animation tips or stuff like this, just maybe leave it in the comments. You know, tell me what type of other animated stuff you want or other ideas you have for me to do on the channel. I'm looking for a lot of ideas right now since I'm trying to make a change from just doing the stupid normal speed paint with music in the background. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I will see you all later. Peace.